The July 4th holiday marred by tragedy with deadly shootings across the country yesterday. In Washington state, a 13-year-old girl was killed after two groups got into a fight in the Alderwood Mall. Police saying the girl was not involved with either group and died at the hospital. In Wyoming's Yellowstone National Park, in Montana, park rangers exchanged gunfire with an armed person making threats. That person was killed and a ranger injured. In Chicago, 3 people, including 1 child, were killed during a shooting in the Grand Crossing neighborhood. Then in Southwest Philadelphia, at least 1 person was killed and 8 others injured in a shooting late last night. In Highland Park, Illinois, holding its first July 4th parade since the mass shooting there 2 years ago, in which 7 people were killed and dozens more injured. Joining us now is Whitney Austin. She's a survivor of a shooting in Cincinnati, Ohio, where she was shot 12 times entering work one morning in 2018. She says she thought she was going to die that morning. And since then, she has turned her tragedy into activism with her organization, Whitney Strong, which is aimed at reducing gun violence. Whitney, thank you for joining us. And remind us of that difficult day, that horrible day when you were shot. What happened that day?
So on September 6th, I thought I was going into work in Cincinnati, Ohio, just like any other normal day. And it was the opposite. It was extremely abnormal to walk into a mass shooting. There were 3 people that died on that day, but miraculously, I survived 12 bullets and I got back home to my precious children and my husband. And I have to tell you that that changed my life forever. I knew that I had been given a gift that nobody gets and that it was now my responsibility to join this fight and to try to make progress on this issue that sometimes is viewed as very fatalistic.
As you have now become an expert in the space, not only from your personal experience, that through your organization as you work on this very topic, why is it that July 4th within itself is one of the deadliest, if not the deadliest day of the year, according to the FBI and their research, as well as summer months overall? You were shot during a summer month, too.
Now, first and foremost, I want to extend my condolences to the many, many Americans across the country that woke up today and now have loved ones that they have lost or loved ones that are now going to see their lives change forever because of gun violence. You know, criminologists have studied this for quite some time, and there are many number of reasons why gun violence increases in the summer months. First and foremost, it's warm. People are now able to get outside of their homes and to interact with others. As people congregate and disputes arise, unfortunately, we are awash with firearms, and firearms are being used to settle disputes. And so there are many number of reasons. Of course, the last one being, when you look at the root causes of gun violence, so many of the social services and other solutions that go a long way toward reducing it, they diminish in the summer months. And so there are many, many reasons why we see gun violence increase in the summer months.
What are you focusing on now that you think is the most effective for this very topic, for what is so difficult for just about every single city in America?
Yeah, at Whitney Strong, we are really focused on finding common ground. And what that means for us is when we look at policy solutions, where is there broad support on both sides of the political aisle, and where is there evidence that this solution actually works? And we've seen that strategy and that model play out many times over the course of the last 5 years of doing this work, where it leads to success. And the best example I can think of is the passage of the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, and really making sure that the solutions included in that package were common ground solutions that really both sides of the political aisle can get behind. And so for us, that specifically looks like solutions that are putting in place restrictions so that those who are a danger to themselves or others can see their firearms temporarily transferred, and then they can get the help that they need so that they can get back to a place in which gun ownership is safe. And that bill is called Crisis Aversion and Rights Retention.
Which states are you focused on?
So specifically with that piece of policy, we're focused in the state of Kentucky, which is where I live. We've been working on that policy for the last 5 years. We have always done it in a bipartisan way, which I'm so proud of, with a Republican sponsor and a Democratic co-sponsor right there on our side. And most importantly, we have been focused on How do we help gun owners? We know that gun owners have crisis moments, whether they're looking to harm themselves, which, by the way, is the greatest number of gun deaths we see in this country, but also gun owners who are facing a crisis and think that harming others is the best way to solve that problem. And so we've been able to make progress in a bipartisan way. We have been able to accumulate a number of hearings, and we're excited as we head into 2025 to continue that success and to see CAR become law.
Whitney Austin, thank you for your work and thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Hey there, MSNBC fans. I'm Luke Russert, and be sure to join me, Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki, Lawrence O'Donnell, Steve Kornacki, Joy Reid, and many more September 7th in Brooklyn, MSNBC Live Democracy 2024. Click on the link for ticket information. We will see you there.